It's a damp, cloudy December day, so let's go inside, sit by the fire and look back over the year. Cue the music. It's been quite a busy year overall, and one thing that we have been doing is taking part in community stuff and helping other people out with Acção Floresta Viva. You might be forgiven for thinking that it's always beautiful weather out here in Portugal, but sometimes it is a little bit difficult and does get in the way of making videos. Oh goodness me, what a storm! It's going to be pretty difficult making a decent video this week if this carries on. It's due for the next few days. So, I don't know whether you can even hear me. Just having a look and see. The polytunnel amazingly is still there, but we've got forecasts of very strong winds coming through, and goodness me, we've got things flying around everywhere, and yeah, really just trying to stay warm and dry. The amount of drafts that are coming through the house is something quite spectacular, and having a lot of rain can sometimes cause a bit of a landslip. We've had a bit of a collapse. Look at this. Huge amount of earth has fallen down, and luckily not completely blocked up the mine. Well, that's going to be a job for another day. Are you having a drink? Come on, you. And of course, even if the weather isn't perfect, there are plenty of jobs to be getting on with, and there's always something to plant. Nice. So, with any luck, these will do well. Beautiful plant. Thanks again to Cheryl and Tuck. There's an old saying about farming, and that is the ground is a long way down. I guess that I had sort of thought that I'd mentally prepared myself even before we left the UK for having to do quite a lot of physical work. What I've found is that you do really need to swap between tasks, or at least I do, so that you're not getting completely worn out with one muscle group and then having to spend the next day in bed because you've lifted something too heavy and done your back in. Nevertheless, I'd encourage anyone who's thinking about making a move, going to live abroad, to definitely go and have a look. There's a big world out there, and the beauty of this place more than makes up for any of the inconveniences. You'll have seen in previous videos that we did have bees, and unfortunately they got absolutely wiped out by the Asian hornet. And I did try and catch some this year, and one day I could actually hear a swarm and desperately tried to locate it but couldn't. But I tried some bee attractant with, how shall we say, not great success. I've got hold of some bee attractant, so I'm going to assemble a hive in the hope that we can catch a swarm. So I don't know how well this stuff works, but it smells absolutely amazing. Sort of citronelle. It feels like you could eat it, but considering it's 95% Vaseline, maybe not. All the while the pups are growing fast, and they are great company. You beautiful little girls, aren't you? Spring, of course, is a time to be planting seeds for the next season's crops, and there's generally some help to be had around the place. Trees are bursting into life, and the early blossom might just survive the frosts. Very sadly, and we're not quite sure what happened, but in late spring, early summer, Friend, who is the puppy's father, and little Mimosa, who is the half-sister, just went missing one day. So we've got these precious memories of them on film. But yeah, they're a sad loss. She's cute, girls and boys. Oh, hello, Pipsqueak. Are we all good? Are we all good? Hello. We are in Portugal, in fact, an Iberian peninsula, completely without electricity, which is pretty much unprecedented for, I suppose, about 100 years. They are apparently trying to get everything back online, and they're saying at the moment, and it might change, that it probably wasn't a cyber attack or anything, but a fire somewhere in the southwest of France, which damaged high tension lines. So it's interesting to see just how interconnected everything is. No electricity and no internet. And what does it feel like? Well, it feels quite liberating. It's a little bit strange because at this time of night, you know, you normally sit down with maybe a glass of wine and watch some YouTube videos, and we can't do that now. We're gonna come out and look at the skies, and it's gonna be hopefully quite cool, although there are some trails up there for you conspiracy theorists. You might be able to ask yourselves, how come they're still there? So how's the 19th century going? It actually transpired that power outage was caused by fluctuations in the renewables. They literally couldn't get the electricity from one side of the country to the other and balance it out, and they didn't have the gas backup to iron out the wave. So I think they've learnt lessons there, and they keep the gas spooled up so that we don't hopefully experience that again. But at the time, Spain had been running, I can't remember exactly how long for, but for a serious amount of time, just on renewable electricity. Anyway, we're now back into spring and all the flowers are coming up, and that means inevitably some mowing. Now this is Mimosa, who has decided to visit from the village. Hello, little bird. Slightly jealous, aren't you, my girl? She is very cute. And here we are, preparing the vegetable beds for planting out the new seedlings. This is the Hotel Aguas de Jaén. It's part medical spa, part luxury retreat, and part radioactive experiment. This old hotel is really a fantastic place to visit, and there's loads of things to see in this area. If you do go along, be careful because a lot of falling masonry. Watching these videos back, it's well, I'm reminded that I do need to get on with this tiny house project. I think one of the last things I did was to put in some drainage pipes, and I really do need to find some time to carry on that project. But here I am, putting some roof on this. Well, This is an old house and we do get a few drips coming through the roof, especially when the rain's really heavy. But one day I looked up and water was coming through the ceiling in the other part of the house, and that's made of concrete. Right, why have we got water coming through the ceiling? This is very strange. Remove the security device. Ooh. What is going on here? This ball cock valve has obviously stopped working. What have we got here? Petrol, strimmer, excellent. And the rubbish to get rid of. I've been getting water, picking up the parts of all my life. Didn't get to solve it this time. So many wildflowers at the moment, it's absolutely amazing. And everything has really grown. All the grass is sort of like half a metre high after all the rain we've had. So yeah, it's where to start on the strimming front. Or just sort of like resign to it. The weather's starting to warm up now, and the colours are changing from the deep bright greens of early spring to the browns of summer. It's time to clean out the water tanks. And this one actually gives me a bit of trouble this year because it's also sprung a leak. Yeah, they're wearing their buddies because we had them sterilised. Which was a responsible thing to do, but nevertheless, I do feel a little bit sad about it, but we don't need more dogs, do we? We have plenty here, and it's really hot, so I've just dampened them down a little bit so they get cool, haven't I, baby? That was alright, wasn't it? But yeah, they've been inside all day, sleeping, and it's been, I think, about 32 degrees today. It was very nice working down in the tank, but when you're that furry, not really what you want. George, what's going on? Hello, Prince. Thank you. What a nice visit. Yeah. First time he's been back here since December.
December 7th, 6th, somewhere.
Yeah. Still, seems to be making himself at home. Poor Maya has been attacked by boars so many times this year, hence she's all scar-faced now. The time limit for us to clear land using metal blades has actually been extended to the 15th of June. So Sophia really has been going at it with the strimmer. Very impressive how much she's been doing. So sorry about the noise in the background, but it's absolutely vital because we really do need to take down, beautiful though they are, a lot of these plants because otherwise they just provide a fuel source. Hello, Bok Box. Are you not out today? You want to come out? Bok. Your house is falling over. Good morning. One thing I'm doing today is removing a good amount, maybe 2/3 of the grapes that are growing here, because otherwise we get really small ones with loads and loads of pips, and I'm hoping that I can stimulate them to grow a little bit better by removing a good quantity You can see they're already forming nice bunches here. But get the inside ones gone, and hopefully the plant will put its energy into growing nice bunches of them. And amongst all this abundance, we do have some rather nice strawberries growing. Up there, we've got a tank that we need to repair, and once it's repaired, we want the water to be usable down here. So that's going to be a bit of a slog because it's steep and there's no road access. Just shove them in. Yeah, thanks. Just get a load packed in there to stop the cement going down it. Needs must.
Deep. Not the screen, huh?
Oh, it's refreshing.
Yes. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oops. Nice. How's your waterfall?
Wow.
Making me scream like a girl,
You can't
Sophia.
control it, can you?
No, I know, it's terrible. Cold water. So, there's the little water mine feeding all of this. Very cool. Well, it's not the most beautiful job, but hopefully it'll be effective. What do you reckon, little dogs? And now I need to put the plug back in and let this refill. That was so unfair. Come on. Oh my goodness me. That is some pressure. Come on, keep going, keep going. Wow. We've spoken about our intention to get goats in a few videos, and we visited some farms to learn a little bit more about their husbandry, and we're hoping to bring you some interesting news about them in the new year. You're like the dog from the meme, aren't you? Yeah. Yes. One thing you might note on this particular farm, we're actually right over, really on top of the Serra da Estrela, and we've actually got a completely different stone here. It's called schist, so it's instead of having the sort of the granite that we've got this much more friable stuff. Quite pretty. Yeah, relatively slim pickings. I think obviously not having a lot of water, but also having very dry winds has not helped at all. We filled up an IBC for the shower, and we've been having cold showers, which is fine if the weather's a bit warm. But it has filled up a little bit, so I'm gonna siphon through the pipe, which predictably emptied, and with any luck, we'll get the inside shower working again. I've got some nice olives on this little tree. Not quite time to harvest them. Wait for them to start turning a bit more. But good olive harvest, hopefully. Now the figs have been pretty much drying on the tree by themselves. Nice. Nice. See how worn the old bolts have got. It's actually all welded up anyway, but I thought it was going to be a good idea to get some new ones, especially as I had to cut the other ones off. This is our front door at the moment. We also have a much bigger door now. Pretty good news. So that brings us to the end of another year here in beautiful rural Portugal. We've been here nearly 4 years now and we're learning all the time. But one thing that I'm always grateful for is you guys coming on the journey, and I'd like to wish you all the very best for 2026. Please keep liking and subscribing, put those comments down below, and I'll see you next year.
I was a lonely silhouette, needed somebody to show the way. Yeah, I was a heartbeat with no sound till you came around. Yeah, you showed me colors, light in the darkness. You were the only thing I needed. Then we got older, but we stayed the same. Swear that we never lost the flame. Nostalgia, you're an echo in my head. Oh, nostalgia, like a symphony of our memories. Oh, nostalgia, don't you ever slip away. Oh, nostalgia, like a symphony of our memories. Oh, like a symphony of our memories. Oh, what if the years turn into gold? The longer we live, yeah, the more we grow. We could be 100 miles apart, but it's never far. Yeah, you show me colors.